Well, and I still drink Coca-Cola, so it's just upped the amount of like sugary drinks.
You drink Coke?
Yeah, regular.
Dude.
Oh, that's insane.
What? No, you guys are insane. There's literally nothing
how
better.
1999 of you.
Well, no, you're a Diet Cola person. You and Trump.
No, I don't think I've drank that brand of soda in 15 years.
Oh, I don't do it often, but like
you know the best time to drink a Coke?
Restaurant. When's that?
On a 100-degree day
Mm-hmm.
after running 10 miles.
I was gonna say after a race.
Yeah,
after a race, I love like water, and I'll always grab a Coca-Cola because when you give a cold Coca-Cola after a race, I don't know. Someone tried to explain to me there's some science behind it, but basically, you crack that and drink that, and I feel like replenished. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's the glycogen stores. Like when you have completely depleted your glycogen. That's why I said a long run or a race.
Is that
like
why
a Coke after a marathon? Oh, feels good.
Yeah.
Is that why after I almost died at the Barcelona Grand Prix, the very first thing I craved was a cola soda? And
yeah, you need the sugar.
That's good to know. If you're about to die, grab an ice cold Coca-Cola.
Oh, we've been recording too. This is all out there. This is great. This is actual useful advice.
We need to package this up and be like, hey,
just ship this to the show.
Will you guys pay us to air this little segment?
Coca-Cola, Olipop, we're taking money from anyone.
All right, let's go.
It is Money Lap. All right. Well, we should just start then. Welcome to the Money Lap. I kind of look up mid taco bite. You don't know disappointment. Talking all things motorsports by two real drivers.
I appreciate being called a gritty driver.
With many, many years of experience.
We've had to do that other people didn't want to do.
The most dedicated host in the motorsports podcast world.
Weren't we supposed to have somebody come on our show as a guest?
No, we did it.
Did we?
Yes.
Yes, for our 1-year anniversary.
And we definitely know what we're doing. Remember, talk through your mic.
I'm talking past it like this.
Well, if you just pointed it differently. Like, never mind. Never mind.
Oh,
Never mind.
Let's talk about race cars. God's
This
sakes.
is our worst show ever. Hello, welcome to Money Lap. I'm Parker Kligerman, joined as always by Landon Cassill out in Iowa. I'm in Connecticut. Today we'll talk some NASCAR, IndyCar, MotoGP. They had a crazy race this past weekend and some other racing. Now, I did go into this, Landon, today thinking there wasn't a lot to talk about or dissect from this weekend. Even though there was a lot of racing, it just doesn't seem like there's many controversial things that happened / things that we have to dive into deeply. But that doesn't matter because we can talk about racing without any major hot, spicy topics with some big questions, some things that we've been discussing the last couple of days, maybe over the last week that stuck out. But I wanted to start with a joke for you. Will you give me this time?
Uh-huh.
Why did the man throw his spare tire into the woods when he got lost?
I don't know why.
Because where there's a wheel, there's a way.
Okay.
That really got us fired off. All right, let's go. Welcome.
Thank you.
I can edit that out of the show if you'd like.
Please
do. It was amazing.
Let's talk about Cup Series.
All right, we'll get to what we do best. The Cup Series, Kyle Larson won, dominated. To be honest, had a bit of a threat at the end of stage 2.
Killed him.
What?
Sorry, killed him.
You got to speak into the mic. We're now at 101 episodes, and you just learned you still have to speak into the mic. Yeah, he dominated. Had a little threat from Chase Elliott at the end of stage 2, but that was about it. Maybe into stage 3 it could have played out differently, but when Keselowski blew his tire, that could have jumbled things up and created a bunch of restarts and crashes and took out maybe anyone that was even competitive against Kyle Larson. Kind of crazy. When you look at this season, we're 12 races in. The only teams to win are Hendrick, Joe Gibbs, and Penske. I know Josh Berry's Wood Brothers, but the cars are Penske, and he's out of the Penske shop. We're kind of seeing the parity that we still see it through the field. We see it some weekends. Spire winning a pole right up front at Texas. You've got RFK occasionally is fast, that sort of thing. But
Well, there's always somebody in the top 10.
Yeah, that surprises. But it seems at the front right now, we're seeing a bit of a runaway by the bigger teams. We're back to 2018. Now, I do believe we would see this at some point. I just think the way this car is and the current structure and how the parts are specified and that sort of stuff, it will come full circle again. You're just going to have lulls like this where they figure stuff out that the other ones haven't, and eventually it comes back. Or it doesn't. I don't know.
I mean, at some point, as long as NASCAR, my belief has always been as long as NASCAR doesn't change the rules, they will just kind of start to plateau how much development there is, like how much there is to be learned.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The amount of money it takes to learn more is just going to, I don't know. Dollars spent per speed found will just start to plateau.
That's a great metric. Thank you for that equation. Can you draw it out for us?
Probably could. With the help of an engineer, you could categorize it. I literally did this in a test one time in a simulator. Like
That's
dollars spent per horsepower, dollars spent per downforce, per pound of downforce, dollars spent per weight, per pound on the car.
Yep.
They have that scienced out. 100%.
What was the biggest winner again?
I think it was horsepower at the time.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm sorry. It was aero. For longest time through the last couple decades, aero has been
that's the winner.
That's been the winner.
There is some conjecture that in the motor arena that Hendrick has kind of separated itself from the ECR motors a little bit. Could be why they've been more dominant. Yep. That's been a thought.
Does it feel like we're in a Jimmie Johnson-esque era of Kyle Larson and Cliff Daniels? Jimmie Johnson, Chad Knaus-esque era? Does it just feel that way? I know we're 6 championships behind where that pairing was.
Yep.
But they're just that like week over week dominance just feels very Jimmie Johnson-esque, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's impressive to do it in this car and, this era.
The other thing too with that
and everything we've got now.
I've even felt like the dynamic between Kyle and Cliff and just the personalities of the two are very similar to the dynamic and personalities of Jimmie and Chad in so many ways. And I almost wonder if that is not as much of a reflection on them as it is a reflection on just the personalities that are needed to have success in those positions at that level. That like you have this alpha direct, driven leader of a crew chief, who is not afraid to ruffle feathers or, push the limits or, speak directly to whoever he needs to speak directly to. And then you have this driver who is not over inserting himself into the team in terms of what they do in their operations, right? Like Kyle and Jimmie were both, and I don't want to try to confuse the two too much, but it's like Kyle is really good at just getting in the car and doing what the car needs to go fast. Like we talked about this last week, right? When we were talking about diagnosing cars and analyzing the setup, and Kyle's not worried about all that, right? He's like, just give me the car. I'll drive it fast. I'll tell you to the best of that I can what I need. And then, you have Cliff like getting it out of him. And he's a good coach, and obviously leading the team. Jimmie and Chad were the same way. Yeah. Right? Like Chad didn't get into the middle of all the setup stuff. And
you mean
Jimmie? I'm sorry, Jimmie didn't get into the middle of all the setup stuff.
If Chad didn't, then who did?
Yeah. Jimmie didn't get into the middle of all that stuff, right? He's just like got in the car and was like, "Okay, boss," and told Chad what he needed, right? And then that crew chief. I've always said, you and I have talked about this a lot because we've leaned on each other when it comes to like working with a crew chief, or have you ever worked with that guy, or trying to hire a crew chief, and so we've shared like, what do you think of this guy? And I've always stood on the ground that the best crew chiefs I ever worked with were just a little bit of a prick, right? And I'm not saying that like I don't, whether Cliff is a prick or not, Chad Knaus is a prick or not. I think you guys can, if you watch enough NASCAR, you can make your own conclusions to that. But like the best crew chiefs are, that head coach sort of mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Head
I
coach
feel
of a
that.
football team.
Cliff is definitely that. He's a very intense operator. I'll never forget a couple years ago doing the pit reporting job and talking to him week in, week out. And the weeks where he just looked so strung out, and it was like, "Did you sleep last night?" Nope. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Man, I worked with Chad one of the great honors of my life was working with Chad Knaus in so many ways. And I had hard conversations with the guy. And and he's held me accountable when I wasn't even his driver, right? Like I was his test driver or working with him on projects. And he held me accountable in a way that made me feel important, right? Made me feel like what I was doing was as important as what Jimmie was doing. But I'll never forget that one of the best opportunities I had in the Cup Series was driving a car that was prepared by the 48 team. And it was because they had a car that they built. They wanted to take it to the All-Star race. It didn't get done in time for the All-Star race, but it had some components and some stuff on it that they still wanted to try. And so they were like, and I was driving for Phoenix Racing at the time. So they were like, well, let's have Landon take this car to Michigan.
Yeah,
and so I
remember
ran
this
that
one.
car to Michigan.
Yep.
And I practiced and qualified the car. And Chad called me that night. I wasn't even expecting it. Chad called me that night, 8:00 at night in my hotel room, and debriefed with me, told me exactly what, he needed of me. It was like, dude, you got another car that you, like a way more important car that you're working on a race weekend. And he's calling me. But he had a vision. They had a directive for what my car was doing too.
Was that 2011
so-
or 2012?
This is 2011.
I remember that. You ran really well.
Yeah, we qualified 12th and finished 12th.
Yeah.
Which, doesn't sound too great at the time given that opportunity, but I think I was the highest finishing Hendrick driver that day. Or second highest finishing, maybe.
Well, there you go. So it was on it for what it had. That's pretty cool.
Good.
I remember that run because that was a big day for you and that
it's a big
opportunity. Hey, real quickly, though, compared to what you were driving at the time, I say this all the time of the best cars I got to drive versus the ones I didn't, or the ones that, were not as well prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And this always stuck out to me when I drove my last race for Gaunt Brothers in the 96 when we had that car at Kansas that was a similar thing with Joe Gibbs Racing.
Mm-hmm.
But they wanted to try some stuff, and there was some other stuff going on at the time. So I got to drive that car and, compared it to the time I did half a season with them in 2019. And what stuck out to me was it had all the same issues and it almost felt the same. But when I got done with the lap, they'd be like, hey, that's a top 5 lap time. I'm like, oh, okay.
You're just going faster.
You're just going faster.
Yeah.
Yep.
I that year I did the Goodyear tire test at Fontana, a short time after we raced there, and I was driving the 48 car at the tire test, and my first lap on the racetrack in race trim with no tape or anything was faster than my qualifying speed in the 51 car. And it was like, oh my God.
No. You just went faster.
Doesn't get
it is
easier. It
funny.
just goes faster.
Nope. 100%. 100%. Which is back to the original question you asked. Is Kyle Larson in this sort of Jimmie Johnson era? I think he's just sort of in his groove right now. I mean, everything he steps in, we've seen this for years. But you look at May, I know some people have posted his schedules, but what he's balancing this month alone, and to do this, where he's racing sprint cars and winning there, and then he's doing the Xfinity car, wins there, and then he hops the Cup car, wins there, and now he's going to go off and do practice for the Indy 500, and then go qualify, then do the All-Star race, and then go do the Indy 500 and the Coke 600 on the same weekend. And it's just like he wouldn't. Here's the crazy part: if he won every one of these races, it wouldn't surprise anyone. Like even the Indy 500, I think with the level of variety he has in his driving and the amount of cars he drives, I don't know how shocked anyone would be if he went there and won. if McLaren's fast, first and foremost, right? He's not gonna be able to take a dog forward. But if he went and won the Indy 500 and the Coke 600 on the same day, everyone would be like, yeah, kind of expect it.
And you want to know the best news for me on the storyline?
What's that?
He's already wrecked one.
I know. We dived into
Isn't
it.
that- yeah, like he's got his wreck out of the way.
Yep.
Early. Right? Indy's May's a long month in Indy.
It is, but I think practice starts tomorrow on Tuesday. So Tuesday, May 13th. And it leads to, we'll dive into this more later on, but the greatest show in motorsports, which is Indy 500 qualifying. For the purist, for the people that want to see just pure awesome, great drama and incredible driving and insane speeds. Indy 500 qualifying this weekend. Watch it. It's going to be epic. That last hour for the pole is always amazing. There's always someone that rises up. It's super cool. Bump day, or the bumping that occurs is so intense. Last year, remember Ray Hall missing it and how just big and awful a time that was for that race team. So we're getting there, but super cool. So, one other thing for you, by the way, there's a new law in Iowa that protects racetracks from nuisance complaints. Did you see this?
No.
Yeah.
Didn't.
Is a racetrack owner.
I didn't. That's incredible.
I know. I thought that was fun. Really fun.
No more expanding on that. Just
I don't know.
Do your own research or what?
That was in our notes. Josh did it. Josh did it. So
yeah, I don't know. That seemed like something that's good for short track racing or whatnot, because like aviation, it feels like the biggest enemy towards short track racing or small airports is housing developments and whatnot, or building up around them and shutting them down. So it's nice to see stuff like that.
Right.
There you go.
Right. Wait a second. We have a guest. Landon.
We do?
We do. Yes. We've had him on before. I was rooting for him on Friday night in the ARCA race. He ended up winning. Should we bring him in?
Let's do it.
Yep.
Ooh, I got it.
Butterbean.
What's up, guys?
How you doing,
Hey,
buddy?
man, how's it going?
Congrats on the win.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Glad to be back on. I feel like we've been missing each other, so I'm back.
Love it. Love it. How'd that feel, man? That had to be good.
Good. Especially to get my first mile and a half. So our, first mile and a half win is special just because, as a late model guy, we're kind of labeled as short track guys, and it don't matter if it's a shopping cart, it's a mile and a half win. So I'll take it.
Awesome. I love that.
What do you think of that track layout and how it's sort of aging and coming around? What's it like in those ARCA cars?
I like it. I mean, I don't have nowhere near the experience at a bunch of mile and a halves or anything like that, but I ran the truck race there last fall and was awful, and I got to experience that side of it, and then I got the experience being in a really good car this time and having a fast car. So I can see why people get frustrated when you're in the back of the pack and you're aero tight and hate it. But when you have a car like we had on Friday, it makes things a lot more fun. But I like the fact of, like, I moved around all day. Like, I went to the top, and then my car was really good on the bottom, and I was able to really, once I got the lead, kind of go back to just running bottom and taking shortest distance, and but I could go to the top when I needed. So I really like the part of searching, because, like, I was running second to the Gibbs car, and I just started searching and going where he wasn't, and I thought that was fun, and for me, just trying to learn every lap of how the air feels, and you're going a lot faster than you are on a car store race. So
It's funny when you start running those tracks and you never do fully understand why you can't at a short track use up all of that road, like at an intermediate track like Kansas. It's this huge
Yeah.
racetrack, and you can use any bit of the road you want. Like,
yeah,
anywhere.
it's wild because like there's way more room out there than you think, and like at the end of it too, like the 18, I told this today when I was at Chevy working out. I was like, the 18 was running the top mostly, and then when I got the lead here, like probably around kind of, this is a little bit after I'd got away from him on the last couple, like the last pit stop stuff, but he was running the top and I went to the top, and then he went to the bottom, and he would gain like 2 car lengths and get right on the bumper. So I went right back to the bottom, and I would gain 3 car lengths down there, but I would lose half off of 2, and I'm like, I'm okay with gaining 2.5 every lap, opposed to losing 2 running the top. So it was just fun. Which Derek Nealon does such a good job spotting for me, but he was, I mean, if I'm doing something wrong, he lets me know, and luckily he didn't critique me too much, even though I kept asking him under caution, like, what am I doing wrong? So, man, Kansas to me, like, I'm biased because I won, but it'll be a track that I will go to if we're going again this year. But if I get more opportunities, it'll be a special one that I like.
Good.
Love that. Love it. Hey, one thing I noticed in the first run, you were trying to catch the Gibbs car, Swallich, and you were loose, like sideways, digging, like visibly. Was it that loose from inside the car, or was it just us on the outside seeing, the ARCA car can slide like that?
It's funny because this is like the 3rd or 4th time somebody said that today, and I'm like, I didn't realize it. Like, I knew I was loose, but I didn't realize like it was visibly like sideways or anything. And I've talked to I talked to my sponsor, and I've talked to some other people on the phone since then, and they're like, yeah, you were sideways and this and that. And I'm like, I didn't realize it. Like, I thought, and in my mind, we were a little free as the heat. Oh, here we go. You see, I haven't seen this parts of the race. How'd y'all get this footage? I like it. But so I said the ARCA car, we were really good in the morning. As the sun came out, we got looser and oh yeah, I guess it is. We got a little looser in the heat. But I knew when the sun went down, we were probably going to be back pretty good. Kind of just went off my instinct of short track racing, how the grip just, oh yeah, there it is. Wow.
Yeah. See,
That's
we
pretty
weren't lying.
cool. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool to see.
You were sideways.
Man,
Like,
well, so I thought though I was free, and I felt like I needed to be free, but I was like, there's a difference in keeping your momentum up through it versus sliding the tire. And I felt like I did a good job of maintaining my momentum with the free instead of scrubbing the speed. So that was kind of the fine line. But once the sun went down, it came back to be really, really gripped up. I was free up top all day, and that's kind of where at the end I was like, if I don't have to risk it, go back to the bottom.
Yeah. I that's where I always struggled at Kansas, is being loose and trying to run the top. It's a really weird combination
It is.
there.
But if you notice, the longer we ran, it's like my car got better or didn't fall off.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was long run was our strong part, and I feel like we were one of the best at wrapping the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a short distance, as you said. So sometimes it's a place to be, right?
That's right.
Like,
that's right.
And that place. What's funny is you watch I'd say in the Cup Series, it probably navigates to the top, but like in the Xfinity Series, the bottom at times will be the strongest because it's just like you're getting away from the rubber, a little bit at times, right? The way it lays down there.
Yeah, and for me, like I always liked a freer car, and when I started winning my late model races, I kind of had to back that up and kind of make sure I had drive was kind of what we were always fighting for. And I would always sacrifice a little bit of center turn to have drive. Even if I was a little tight, I would find a way to make it turn or back my corner up. But it seems like as I ran the truck race and then, now getting into this, like if I can drive it being a little free without somebody being on my door and sucking me around, I feel like I'd rather be that way than be arrow tight all night. So I'm kind of figuring out what I like, and I think this was a good start at it for sure.
It's awesome. let's talk. Congrats, by the way. That's super cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
thank y'all.
Those wins. It's just, I know I won an ARCA race back in 09 at Kansas, and it was for whatever reason it just felt big. I don't know. It's just a cool thing to do at that place. And
It does.
Yeah, I don't know why, because it, the mile and a half, especially in that era, there were so many of them, and now we've gotten to there's not as many as there used to be, and they're all pretty different from each other. But for whatever reason, winning at that place, it's just sort of like traditional mile and a half style stock car driving. You got to utilize aero, multiple grooves. Like, you just got if you win there, you feel like, okay, I've kind of figured out like what NASCAR has been the last 15 years, right?
It's a nice place, right? Like, the whole like facility seems very nice, and I noticed that last year when I ran that truck race. I was like, this is a really nice place. And you know, 10-year-old Brenden, just like you said, loved, like, this was prime NASCAR, right? Like in the mid 2000s, like, watching Dale Jr. rip the fence in the Bud car, like, it's just brings back those vibes, really.
Don't make me cry on my own podcast.
Hey, look, we
Whoa,
had
whoa.
I about cried this weekend talking about Speed Channel, so
I know the feeling, man. We talk about it all the time. I miss it so bad.
I miss
I know. Those were the days. You turn on Speed Channel in the summers on Friday nights, Thursday
Oh,
nights, the
man.
Scooters Pro Cup on,
Bud
truck races.
shootout qualifying. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I would get off the school bus and run inside and catch happy hour and Bud shootout qualifying. Like, oh man, I miss it.
Those are the days, man. Well, we got more of it out there than ever before. You just have to search for it on the internet. It's just not
For
all there
sure.
in front of you as much. But I'm with you. Those were the best. I missed qualifying being on Friday nights for Cup. That was always so fun.
Man. Well, I felt like and I had this conversation with somebody from Fox this weekend, but where I feel like we just miss it is, like, now, like, most people I know, like, if they're gonna go to the Cup race, they don't show up till Sunday, right? There's nothing
Mhm.
really to see but a 15-minute practice and one qualifying lap. I remember, like, Richmond was our closest track, but I would, like, get there on Thursday and I could walk around all day, and they had a Chevy zone, a Dodge zone, a Ford zone, and, like, the whole day was just filled with stuff, and you had practices and qualifying. And I get that since COVID, all that went away, but they're missing something there. I swear that's what I fell in love with. So I miss the whole atmosphere of being there and seeing stuff, and then I felt like it made it easier to, like, latch on the drivers, because during practice you were getting personalities, and just, I don't know. I
Yeah.
miss it.
Yeah, I know. What do you think of the Cup race this past weekend? We were talking about Kyle Larson dominating once again. He's kind of in his Jimmie Johnson era, man. You're a historian of this.
Yeah, I'm really good friends with Cliff. So we're fellow Virginians, and me and him were texting about it. Was cool. We won on the same weekend, and I mean, it's hard to bet against the 5, especially at the mile and a half. I mean, I do think he is I mean, if you're gonna pick somebody to have the type of run Jimmie had, how do you bet against the 5? I know the playoffs changes it up, besides, from what Jimmie went through for most of his, but I still think the 5 can do it, especially now Homestead's coming back next year as the championship. Like, as long as he keeps it out the fence.
Good era for them. Yeah, my only, caution and critique to it is that historically this is Kyle Larson's peak time of the season, right? He doesn't really peak in the playoffs. He peaks now.
For sure. But see, I could probably argue that a little bit, as far as a lot of times it seems like in the playoffs he has bad luck, whether it's a flat tire or like last year. What happened back to back? He had a tire come off, or a flat at one of the mile and a halfs he was dominating, or something crazy like that happened. And then you have 2 of those races happen in a row, and it's almost a must win. And
right.
And then obviously Martinsville not being his strongest place. always puts him in a must win almost going in there. And I think that's been like if he can win at, I'd have to look at the schedule. Where do they go before Martinsville? Texas?
Well, not this year.
Well,
Let's see.
they're
Not this year.
you bring up a good point too, and maybe this doesn't apply to this year as much for the 5 team, but looking ahead with Homestead going to the championship race, and it also sounds like, Daytona won't be in the championship rotation, at least no super speedway road courses. They want to keep that like rotation with the oval tracks. So maybe not still, I guess I originally read that as playoffs, but that traditional stock car racing, traditional NASCAR racing is better for Larson and his crew anyway. So
Yeah, where they go to Vegas in that last round.
Oh, so like Vegas is another, like, as long as he doesn't get trapped on pit road or like
right.
he's got a really good shot to win there. I feel like, I really feel like it suits Bell too. Like Bell is another
yeah.
one that if Larson doesn't secure it, like that's probably the next in line
Mhm.
on a if I'm gonna bet on it, like I feel like what they ran 1-2 for a while this weekend. I didn't catch the end of it, or we'll see where Bell ended up, but I know he was up there for a while.
Doesn't
He
it make
didn't
you
miss a ton.
chuckle? Doesn't it make you chuckle to tune into a track where they're ripping the fence like that and running these, creative lines, and it's Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell running 1-2? Like it just some stuff happens for a reason, doesn't it?
It is. It's and I've been fortunate enough to run some dirt stuff, dirt late model stuff, and I think it made me better when I did go back asphalt racing. Like I was doing it dirt on Friday and asphalt on Saturday, and I swear it made me just feel the tire better, feel the grip in the right rear or in my butt really. And
Yeah.
I think I didn't rip the fence as high, like as close as he did, but like I think it gives you that feel that you can do it. Cause yeah, I saw that sprint car clip too the other day. That's
You're loving our clips we're showing here. For those
I
who are
love it.
listening, by the way, if you're not watching on YouTube or Spotify, we play a bunch of clips from the broadcast. That's what's catching you
Yeah,
out.
so I'm trying to get ideas because I have my own podcast called the Bean Pod. And
Oh, we got Bean Pod.
yeah, so we haven't been quite as consistent, but I do have a real podcast, and I'm always looking for ideas of how to spice my podcast up. So y'all got it going on.
Perfect. Yeah, we
Yeah.
can help you out. We'll Josh over here, he can give you the tips of the trade.
Heck
how we do
yeah.
that. Yeah. For sure.
I do got a question for Landon. It might be a little off topic.
No,
Yeah.
there's no such thing.
Do you remember before I probably was even close to being a relevant name anywhere? Do you remember iRacing with me way back in the day? Because I'm gonna tell you something, and I swear I'm not like a weirdo for this, but I have a memory of us on there.
Okay.
I pushed you to a win, and you know how they used to do the World Tour events, like the big crown jewel races.
Yeah.
I pushed you to a win in one of the Talladega ones. The area or they did like the 3. What was it called? The Aaron's 490, whatever they used to be called. But we ran 1-2, and I was like, I don't know how old I was. I had to be like 13 or 12 or something. And I pushed you to the win. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever because I'm like, this dude's a NASCAR driver.
All right, Josh, find that clip.
That's
real
awesome.
quick.
Yeah, we need to find that. Josh, go back through all of my iRacing races.
It was
See if you
somewhere.
can find it.
I had the certificate for the longest time of me being like, they used to give the top 3 little certificates.
That's awesome.
But I was like, one day I'm going to say something to him about it.
That's
I
amazing.
love that.
That's awesome.
I love that.
Also,
Thank
Landon,
you.
congrats
Thank
that
you.
you beat a 12-year-old. Really,
Yeah.
congrats.
I'm just glad that I won something.
Yeah. Wow. Well
Hey,
done.
a win's a win. A win's a win.
You really took it to them that day. He was just getting back from middle school, and
Yeah,
I think that's more just a testament to how good he is.
Nah, I hope you don't think that was weird me bringing it up. I just thought it'd be
I
funny.
love that.
No, it's
I was
amazing.
like-
Thank you.
I was like, it was just something I meant to say on the first time I was on here. I was like, but nah, they probably think that's weird.
No,
Man,
no,
what's
it's
funny,
good.
iRacing is such a great platform now.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
our future racers are going to come out of there. Or they're coming out of there. It's not even.
Is that
I see
scary?
it every. No, it's like you don't. When I grew up, the racers that you raced with, and you look in the magazine, and they were in WKA karting magazines, or you knew them because they raced some local track, and you guys still race in those local tracks, but like now you know everybody online,
I know.
and there's actually an online platform where these guys are racing. And then next thing you know, it's like some driver that is a really competitive, highly rated iRacing driver. It's like, oh shoot, I didn't even realize the guy that races late models and he's making his first truck series start. And it's
Yeah,
like, it's just weird to put the two together, because for like 10 years on iRacing, the only people that raced iRacing were like just sim racers. There was
for sure.
no overlap. But now
Yeah,
there's a
I
ton of overlap.
I got iRacing in '09, and I got it because I was getting ready to race legend cars, and that was like the only thing that had legend cars on it. And that was my first real like sim racing. And I mean, I can just remember from then to now how much has changed on there. Um, and then like now I got into the streaming a little bit on there and Twitch, and it was going good. And then I took a little bit of a break and then moved down here, and I've got everything set back up. And like I race in this wooden rig that was built when I was like 11 years old, right? Like I'll have to send y'all a picture, but
Yeah.
it's literally like, I mean, I don't know how it ain't falling apart. So I don't have anything fancy or nothing, and I still use it. But now, like after I've won Cars Tour races and stuff, like now my stuff is picked up, which is weird because I'm like, I've been on here since '09, and now
Yep.
people are like, oh my god, you won Daytona or something like that. And it's like, it's just weird. It's crazy because like, 11-year-old me would be like, this is awesome. Yeah. But
Isn't it funny when people mess with you in the voice chat?
oh, all the time. Like ever since I've been on, since now that I've been running ARCA, and really after the truck races too last year, like I go and want every server, somebody will message me, are you the real Butterbean?
Famous
So
on iRacing.
yeah.
I love it. That's amazing, man. What's next for you? What do we got coming up next, racing wise?
Charlotte next
All
week.
right.
And that'll be there it is. There,
Hey,
how did he
look at that.
that
Josh
was
is a
it.
magician.
That thing, look at that thing.
Like a
That-
what's that? Like a
A
like
Ford
a yeah, some sort of Ford seat.
Ford Ford Escort seat or something. I think so. I do have a Fanatec wheel on there now, but that was what I was rocking, baby. Look at that thing.
That's amazing. Single
I st-
monitor, not even it's just sitting on the top there.
Oh,
Desk
I had to.
monitor.
Well, so there's a TikTok of it crashing. I wrecked the 80. Is it 85 or 87 Cup cars? So now I have it all zip tied on there so the screen don't fall because I cracked it. But yeah, that. So I got Charlotte next week, and then I'm actually gonna fly with Nealon and I think Kyle Busch to run that Oxford 250 with Nealon.
Oh, that's cool.
So I've never done anything like that. So I'm going with them, and that's gonna be fun. But Charlotte and the ARCA car will be the next one.
Awesome. That's cool, man. Yeah, the Oxford 250, that's a wacky track itself. So
I know.
that's a big
iRacing.
deal
That's
up there.
that's the only practice I got.
I'm sure it's exactly the same. I never got to run it. I had a couple chances that came close, but that's a weird one.
That's
Big
a big
circle.
that's a big deal, and that race is tough. That's a tough one to crack, because these pros have gone up there for decades, and I don't know if anybody's ever been able to dethrone. Who's gone up there and actually won the 250?
Oof.
I'm so lost in that world. Like I told Derek, I said, like it sounds kind of bad, but when you're in the late model stock world, you don't really the pro and super world is so different. Like
Well, no, there's their own cars up there. It's got
that's right.
It's nothing like what we
It-
race anywhere in the
it's-
country, and so
Yeah, it's like their own. It's like a whole different world. Like and it's wild though. Like like even running the tour, even with the supers down here, like you see them, but it's literally like a fence, and it's like you're either late model stock or you're like super late pros. Like you're not really like you're on one side or the other. Is what it seemed like in Virginia, like where I read Langley, like they don't run pros or supers or nothing like that. So it was
Yeah.
always late model stock.
Well, good luck, man. It's awesome.
Thanks.
Keep it up.
No.
Keep the winning ways. We'll keep having you back as long as you keep winning.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. They BMAC and them got it in my calendar bi-weekly, so I try to keep up with it.
But if you finish second, I don't know. I don't know if we'll be able to make the room. So
If I finish second, just make me wait in the little backstage area and don't bring me on. Just make me sit there.
yeah, Kyle Busch is always in there, so he's hanging out usually. Yeah, so you can say hi. You guys can enjoy the snacks together. But we appreciate you coming on,
perfect.
bud. Congrats again.
Thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.
See you, bud.
See you.
Good dude. Good dude. Young
Yeah,
up and comer.
What a guy.
Winning.
But hang out,
Good
Butterbean,
race.
until you're uploaded.
Oh,
Oh,
Don't
he's
leave.
good now. All right.
you're good.
You're good.
All right. It's like I love that on this show is that we let people leave and then they can't really actually leave. It's like, hey, exit the stage, but right when you get past the stage, now stop. You just need to stand there for a second and then we'll let you leave.
Right.
I don't remember what we were discussing before he came on. Where were we? What were we doing?
Well, we were talking about the Cup Series. We touched on it with him on the schedule stuff.
Yep.
Homestead officially the championship race. Ben Kennedy kind of assuring that they're not going to get anything tricky with the championship race.
Yep.
There's some reporting out there on motorsport.com that the Clash is likely going to return
To Bowman Gray.
to Bowman Gray.
That'd be fun.
That it probably won't go international, which makes sense to me, and I think NASCAR's in a good spot with that venue. I think it puts NASCAR in a position where they don't have to do anything too rash, because I think it's a pretty economical and low risk move for them to take the Clash to Bowman Gray.
Yep.
And they've proven that they can do it, and I think they've proven they can do it economically, and I think it can give them the space to still entertain like a high profile venue, but not force it, right?
Yep.
I think LA was just such a heavy lift for them to do it in a financial risk that it's like
Yeah.
year after year after year. But I mean, I'd love, how great would it be for them to do the Clash for 2 or 3 years in a row, and then we go somewhere else, and then maybe they bring it back to the Clash for a couple of years, and then they build up another venue.
I like the moving around.
I caught a thing. I think it was on Reddit. Somebody had said a Philadelphia reporter was reporting that they were looking at one of the stadiums out in Philadelphia to potentially run the Clash at, or build up a stadium track. Obviously, can't confirm that, but that's
I think that I'm not going to believe any of that. I mean, those are all. I think they're all true, right? Like we've proven this. We've talked about this. I think that one thing we should all just sit back and enjoy the show is NASCAR is in an era where they're willing to be creative and willing to try a lot of different things. And with that, there's just going to be a lot of reports, right? You're going to hear that they're interested in Wimbledon, San Diego, Philadelphia, Bahamas, whatever, right? It's going to be all over the world. And there'll be, the next time the Clash is the big topic, we'll hear a whole bunch of experts with a bunch of inside information, and none of it is worth truly hanging on to until there's something announced.
It
a good point.
The University of Pennsylvania football, Franklin Field, and
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
In January, yeah.
No, that part's gonna be not fun. If they go to the Bahamas, sign me up. I'll work it.
Have you ever seen snow racing before? Ice racing?
They do it
up in Wisconsin.
Yeah, back when the Clash was being discussed, I was like, we should go snow racing. Let's do it. Come on, do something. They're stock cars after all. How hard can it be?
Well, if they gave them 750 horsepower on the ice, that would be fun.
Sounds like we're getting closer to that. I'm not diving the horsepower topic. Big deal right now in May in sort of this next couple weeks is the upfronts. I mentioned 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I went to the CW upfront, which is just what all the networks do, where they go and pitch all the cool stuff they're doing to all the advertisers and the agencies in New York City, basically. And Amazon did theirs, and they said that they are nearly sold out of advertising inventory for their 5 NASCAR races. And they appeared to hint that they will run double box format instead of full screen commercials, as Adam Stern's reporting from Sports Business Journal. So good for them. Good to see. Nice to see that they had success with that. It's going to be interesting to see how that pans out for NASCAR and Amazon. They have the power to basically notify, almost hundreds of millions of people that they have it, right? How they wield that power and how they, bring the viewers, and could they potentially have more viewers than we see on network or less or whatever. So it's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Amazon, who would have ever thought that a online retailer would be broadcasting NASCAR races?
Oh, you didn't think of that 15 years ago?
No, I didn't. But
Weird.
you know what? I mean, honestly, speaking of businesses who have great shipping,
Oh, who's that?
SpoilerDiecast.com. These guys are crushing it. Absolutely
Yes.
crushing it. And if you use promo code MONEYLAP, you do get free shipping on any order over $20. I'm just taking that all the way into May. So that was our deal in April. And
we haven't gotten updates. So keep it going.
Squeaking it into the first week of May. And if they still have 64 scale diecast, they will throw those in with any purchase. So you make sure you use promo code MONEYLAP. SpoilerDiecast.com. All, just kind of like that basement mall store that we grew up knowing and loving with all the cool stuff. Well, now it's online at SpoilerDiecast.com. They are one of the fastest growing diecast and racing merchandise companies out there, and for good reason. They ship same or next day, just like Amazon, but better than Amazon because it's SpoilerDiecast.com. So your order is not sitting in limbo forever. They have a massive selection, over 1,900 products in stock, mostly NASCAR, kind of like us, but they got a little bit of everything.
Love it.
So,
been speaking to Evan over at Spoiler Diecast. They're doing their best through all the tariff situations and such to have inventory in stock and to fulfill those orders that are on there. So go get your diecast from SpoilerDiecast.com. Support the great people of SpoilerDiecast.com. Use code MONEYLAP. We appreciate it. The Truck Series had a pretty good finish this past weekend. Carson Hocevar held off Lane Riggs, but super sideways off turn 2. Gave him a little bit of a indication that he's number 1 as he went across the line towards Lane Riggs. What is your feelings on a driver giving another driver a hand gesture when they're winning across the line? This happened. I just would like to bring my own version of this into this story before you answer. This happened to me at Road America 2023. Sam Mayer in that epic duel at the end of the race. Sam Mayer got me in the final corner coming to white flag, and I got back within like 0.2 of him, maybe 2 car lengths, whatever, by the line. And as he's going up the hill, he just puts his hands out and gives me the peace sign. Like, you didn't get it, buddy. Sorry. And I was like, it made me infuriated. And then I laughed about it later. Has anyone ever given you a nice hand gesture like that?
I've gotten all the hand gestures there are to get. Me and Ross Chastain used to give each other all kinds of hand gestures, good, bad, and the ugly, because we spent so many years racing. Like, there was a couple of years at the Cup Series where we were the only 2 to race against each other. Everybody else was on a different level. So,
you guys had your own little race.
Yeah, it was like week after week. It was just me and Ross racing for 25th. Didn't I tell you about the time that we played rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah, on a red flag. You did tell me about that.
Like in the Cup cars. That was fun.
Yeah.
So, my take on Carson there is that you can do whatever you want as long as you're winning.
Yep.
That's
how I felt. I laughed about it later from Sam.
He's doing good there. He had a good weekend, right? It's like he's in the booth for the ARCA race. He's contributes a lot to the broadcast. He's really showing his knowledge for stock car racing, and hops in the truck. And it's like he's in an era. He's doing some things right now where it's like that Cup car is just accelerating his learning curve and his progression as a professional driver. It's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, he's got a lot of speed. He's just got. I feel like in the last 3 years we've seen a real accession by him, and
Absolutely.
that first time in the Cup car in the 7 at Gateway, and from then on, all the races he did with Legacy Motor Club, and then on into his time now with Spire. He's definitely had a quick progression in. He's not in the tier 1 situations either, right? In that sense,
Right, but
and
I
hasn't
don't
been
know
part of those
who's
systems.
I guess you might know because you're a little bit closer to it than I am. I don't know who's paying for all that, or if it's Spire putting them in those trucks. But that's the smartest thing they could be doing.
Yep.
Is and even in our own stories, just being in a car more than once in a weekend, gives you a chance to have success with one where you maybe don't with the other. It just balances out your season, and for him to go through that grind of the Cup Series where it's not always easy, it's not always fun, but to kind of have that confidence boost for himself and for his team and for the industry to see like, oh, this is what that guy can do.
Yeah.
Instead of going 20 weeks in a row running the risk of sort of just going unnoticed.
True. Let's move into IndyCar. We talked about it. We were texting about this weekend. Alex Palou won again. We guessed last week. We did our picks. We all picked Alex Palou. He's now 4 for 5 on the season. He's in another
You're
zip
welcome.
code. Yeah. Thanks, Josh. Even though we joked about picking someone else, he's absolutely dominating. And what's amazing is he's got like 2 to 4 tenths on the field. I watched qualifying on Friday for the Indy GP this past weekend, and it looked like at times like someone could be close or whatever, and then he just laid down the gauntlet at the end and literally was almost 4 tenths faster in second place in a field that, like, when you looked at round 1 and round 2, something like second through 15 to be separated by like half a tenth, and then there's Alex Palou. It's just a whole nother zip code, Kyle Larson style. One of the
And
things,
this is
though,
potentially the most equal and competitive era of IndyCar that we've seen in a long time.
well, I think the last few years of this car. Now, the hybrid thing has sort of muddied the water a little bit. Who knows with that deal? And it seems to have changed some things. But it's obviously an incredibly tight and competitive field. They go down to an extra decimal point on their timing scoring for obvious reasons. So all the years they had all those photo finishes and that sort of stuff. And but even on the road courses, they need it because it's such a tight field all the time. But for one guy right now to just be rising so highly above everyone, it's so wild to see.
One other thing, obligatory
What's that
thing that I had to point out as I was watching the race was, Scott Dixon running top 5 again, per usual. And it just sparked in my brain. And I was like, when was his rookie season?
Oh, I know when it was.
When was it? Say it.
It was 2001 in kart at the time. Yeah.
I was like, that would be like if Jimmie Johnson was still racing full time in the 48.
Yeah. 6-time champ. Hasn't got the 7. Looks like it could be tough this year because of his teammate. But no, Scott Dixon's amazing. He also doesn't look older than 35. Like, the guy looks insanely young, which is just wild. And he had a tough time in qualifying, but they were able to get back up there in Scott Dixon style, and you just did things that he does that are so impressive.
That's what you do when you've been doing it at that level for 26 years. 25 years. It's just things happen.
Quarter century of driving that series. Absolutely insane. But one of the things in a group chat we were in that was pointed out on Alex Palou's car is OpenAI partnership with Ganassi this year. Do we think that is there something here where ChatGPT is slowly slipping into motorsports and dominating right now? And are we at threat from the AI revolution?
I don't know. I would love to know more about what that partnership looks like. If nothing else, maybe there's maybe they're getting some free server time or something.
Yeah. We're gonna have to do some digging. We're gonna have to find out what's going on there.
Yeah,
is Alex Palou a robot?
What does Bozy know?
Yeah. Well, Bozy probably knows. Tetrarevic can find out. I've got some friends over at Ganassi IndyCar team. We can try and get a little deeper in this. But I mean, maybe Alex Palou is sort of robotic in his speed right now and his execution in the races. is he maybe the first AI race car driver there?
Could be.
Yeah, that could be that could be what's going on here. So for IndyCar, I don't know how you check that. Where in technical inspection you can find out human versus AI currently operating the car.
You're
But
killing it with the jokes today, bud.
I know, geez, these are terrible. Absolutely, it's Monday. All right, I'm a little tired. Off weekend. I gallivanted all over the Northeast United States here, so I'm a little beat up, tired at the moment. They're not landing, are they?
Okay.
They're not. They're not.
You're
they're,
doing fine.
okay.
Keep going. You're doing
Thanks,
fine.
buddy. Thanks. I just wanted to once again shout it out, but we mentioned earlier this coming weekend, best show in motorsports, Indy 500 qualifying. It's going to be epic. They're on track tomorrow, Tuesday, May 13th, to start the Indy 500. 2 weeks, but I implore you, if you listen to this show or watch it, to check in on Indy 500 qualifying. It's just epic, and we will get done with this. What's that?
When is it again?
It's this weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, good. Okay.
Are you going, Parker?
I'm not, so I have to go to
Oh.
DC. I know, because I threatened to go last year, then I didn't end up going, which was a shame. And then this year, I thought about it, like I could go Saturday night, get there for Sunday. It's not going to pan out. Can't pull that one off. But if you are able to go, I'd say go or watch on TV, because it's always epic. So I can't wait. 240 miles an hour. It's going to be amazing. It's just the coolest show every single time. If you didn't catch the MotoGP race this past weekend, the French GP, once again, we talked about it when they were at COTA earlier this year, where they have all the bike swapping with increment, weather changing. They had another race like that with mid-race bike swaps that were absolutely insane. But it all led to a pretty big deal, which is Johann Zarco won as a Frenchman in the French GP for the first time in over 70 years. So it was huge in front of a huge crowd. That's got to be a good feeling. He did a backflip. He does a backflip off the wall when he wins. Carl Edwards style.
There you go.
Yeah, great. Thanks for that insight. You really loved it. Landon's tired today. This is our worst show ever.
I'm enjoying. Just keep going.
All right. Well, that was everything I had, Ben. We're in the PR lab now. This is where we do picks.
You completely skipped over all of the F1 news.
Did I? Oh, well, there wasn't really anything there. The only thing we got in the F1 right now is that Fernando Alonso is struggling.
He's got no points.
Well, plus, yeah, he's got no points. Plus, I did see the trailer for the F1 movie come out. If you saw Driven, which was a movie that Sylvester Stallone made back in the early 2000s about IndyCar, whatever you want to call it, and it was supposed to be an F1 film, but Bernie Ecclestone ended up stopping it, didn't want it to be done in F1, so they did in kart. This seems to follow the exact same storyline. And you mentioned it. Is this the storyline for Cars 3?
Yes.
It is. I don't know why in racing we can't have a different storyline than we got to pluck the old wily veteran out of retirement, bring him in. They're going to defy age and be, and then you have the young hotshot rookie who they're up against who's trying to show that he's better than the old veteran.
It's Cars 3.
It is. That's the only storyline we get in motorsport.
I'm going to be honest with you. The main trailer is probably the best one. That it actually got me interested in the movie.
The music,
the teasers that they put out like a couple of months ago, I was like, oh no,
not at all.
Unfortunately, though, the race footage looks horrible.
The onboards and such.
The onboards look horrible.
Yeah.
The clear visor and all that stuff. It's not. You can't. It's
gonna be hard. It's hard to watch. I'm sure it will be cool and it will do well, but Brad Pitt doesn't usually miss. But I don't know, when it's with racing, I obviously we know it too well, so I always have a cynical view, and I was watching, but that's not real. That's why even do that, right? And the thing I've always thought or stressed is like with racing movies, racing actually can be an incredible movie. All it needs is a couple tweaks of just like going towards highlights, which is what they do in movies, where they only show you the highlights of races, that sort of thing. I was like, you could take real, actual stuff that's happened, recreate it, and that's enough to get people interested. But
Right.
nope.
What's the best racing film ever then?
Days of Thunder.
I put that there.
Truck race.
Le Mans and Grand Prix and Rush. Those were all great. All of them were great. Oh, and Talladega Nights.
Well, how about in terms of realism and like
Rush.
actually conveying what racing is actually like?
Grand Prix.
Grand Prix?
Le Mans. Yeah,
All
those
right.
two. They're pretty good. Le Mans has like no dialogue. Steve McQueen. But because of that, it makes you feel
In
like
it.
it feels
Can I-
real. Yeah.
For nostalgia purposes, did either one of you guys ever go see the NASCAR IMAX film?
No.
Oh,
I did. I saw that. Did you ever see the IndyCar one?
I did not. No, I did not.
Oh, that was cool. Speedway. That was cool. Really cool footage from like the mid 90s, early 90s in the PPG IndyCar World Series. You follow Mario Andretti and Newman Haas and that sort of stuff. It's really, really cool. So,
And then you got to watch it. I think it's on YouTube somewhere.
Okay.
It's a phenomenal capture of a moment in time that you're gonna watch it and you're gonna be like, "This is the best piece of cinematography."
What
And
years like all the content?
I want to say it's like 2003.
yeah, I remember. It is 03 because I think it's the last year of Winston Cup.
Wonder where we can find it.
It's on YouTube. It's got to be.
Yep, it's free on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's no longer on YouTube. Just kidding. It was there for a little bit.
All right, it's locked away in the archives. We'll have to find it.
It's $4 on YouTube right now if you want to go watch it.
He can't. No,
Okay, that's
hard to-
unfortunate.
no, he can't do that. It's too
So-
hefty.
Do we have to pick all-star winners this week?
Yeah, we got all sorts of stuff to pick. Imola for F1, trucks at North Wilkesboro, and
Mhm.
Cup All Star. What about IndyCar pole winner?
Ooh, there we go. We can do
Okay.
that.
All right, I'll throw that back on there. Good point.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, it's the PR lap. We're gonna dive into our picks and a bunch of the comments and reviews out there as well.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So Cup, I'm gonna say the All Star winner will be Danny Hamlin. Mm-hmm. Trucks, I'm going.
I'll go with you on that.
Okay.
I know that's not that interesting, but let me pick trucks then first so I don't back you up on trucks.
Okay.
Lane rig.
From the DQ. Truck, I'm gonna go Raja Karuth.
Ooh.
Yep. F1. Do I just pick a McLaren or do I think Ferrari has to show up in Italy? They have to. And with Lewis. No, but that's gonna be Monza. That's where he's gonna do that sort of thing. I'm going Max Verstappen.
Oh. Gosh. Come on, Lando. Get it together.
Another week of him choosing Norris.
I'm going with my heart on that one. I want you to I want you to talk through IndyCar poll here. Just
You want me like
yeah, let's just make I know this PR lap, but let's make an assessment here of the field. Let's kind of talk through who's who
it's
do you
almost
know that's
impossible
in it,
because I'd have
who
to look
usually has speed, what do the ECR cars look like?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, it's
who's
gonna be
in
those
those?
guys. Ganassi can be quick. McLaren can be fast. Gosh, I just feel like McLaren needs to be fast this time. Pato Award.
It's a good
Whoa.
poll. It's a good poll. I mean,
You can go like an Andretti. They have to show up.
I'm thinking. Well, I'm thinking a Penske car to win it, but let's just go ahead and go with Penske for the poll.
Wait, but
So
you can't just have. Wait a second.
Nah, that don't work that
I'm
way,
trying to-
buddy.
You can't
Well,
have
I'm
three
narrow-
cars.
I'm
Yeah.
narrowing it down.
Okay.
Who would you think?
McLaughlin did it last year, but I don't know. Joseph won the race. So
This is
Willpower.
two very different skill sets.
And Will Power needs big things. He still doesn't have a contract for next year. So
let's go for that.
motivated.
There we go.
Who? Power?
Yep.
That's
All
a big
right.
one.
Who do you think goes home?
Oh, I don't even
We're just-
know.
Yeah, I can't dig that deep.
Oh,
into
I haven't seen the
man.
list. I haven't seen the list.
Okay. I
You
can
have to
get it
give
for
me the
you
list.
guys if you
How
want
many?
me to.
How many are there?
34 drivers.
So one's going home.
Um,
Hopefully not Rahal, Letterman, Landon.
Oh my gosh, that was a heartbreaker.
Let's do some of the comments out there. Let's see here. Jacob Bork from Spotify. I started listening to y'all's show this season. I'm hooked. I wish more people know about the Money Lap. No other racing show does as good as a job talking about all things racing, except for on this episode. NASCAR is my primary sport, and F1 is my secondary, so this show is perfect. Sorry about missing F1 in our section. Renee here says, congratulations on 100. When I heard Denny, I said, show. Always enjoy listening to y'all. Keep it up, fellas. Appreciate that, Renee. Derek, PK, Landon, please keep it 100. You feel me. Oh, yeah,
You feel
Josh,
me.
you keep 100 too, bro. You guys are the reason I enjoy NASCAR, F1, IndyCar. It drives my wife and kids crazy. You guys rock. Keep doing great shows,
Thanks,
guys.
Derek.
And Chad here says 100 episodes, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point. It seems like yesterday's the egg cracked and out came this amazing show. Continues to be one of the best racing discussions throughout the week. Been a fun race so far. Hope there are many more laps to come. Aw.
Chad comment from the Chad.
Yeah. You want this YouTube one?
Gone fishing 24. I love the show. I look forward to Mondays and Wednesdays to watching all of you guys. Well, this is a long one, so just bear with me here. Well, if we're being honest, usually Tuesdays and Thursdays. Haha. I thoroughly enjoy your takes. I just want to say thank you. You are appreciated. Please keep it up. And it's going to catch fire soon. I just know it. A few more shout outs from your peers like Denny did, and you will be the next Dirty Mo. We're on a path. Also, love Parker's work on the CW. You guys have a great booth.
Oh.
You're killing Fox in every possible way.
Oh.
I didn't know it's a
I didn't know
competition there.
Yeah, it's white. Wow.
It is refreshing to get some people that are competent and truly love the sport commentating. Great job, everyone on the Money Lab team. We're doing our best.
We are.
Today's a little chill. We're focused on the IndyCar, qualifying weekend here. So
It has been a chill day. It's been a chill episode.
no major takes.
No hot takes this time. Francis Bowman said, congratulations on your 100th episode. I heard Denny Hamlin talk about your show yesterday and reminded me that I've subscribed to your channel, but I wasn't seeing it in my feed. What the hell, YouTube?
Hit the bell icon.
Hit the bell icon. Hit the bell icon. As
There you
Josh
go.
said. That'll help us out. Maya Catherine Creative. When I heard Denny shout out the show, I felt like a proud parent. Rain Dog 38. Happy 100th episode. This show has been a staple of my weekly consumption from the beginning. Love how the show has grown, but kept the fun sitting in a bar, barbecue, and in between frames at the bowling alley, talking all things racing. Definitely got me more into Indian F1. There may be many more laps left. Noah of Babylon. Show 200. Well, you're ahead.
Yeah, we're
by
gonna make
100.
it to 200.
Yeah,
We'll
we
get there.
will. We'll get there, but we're a little ahead right now. This is 101. I'm glad that Denny Hamlin, discovered your show, and I look forward to it every week. Denny is our only listener, so it's surprising to see all these people talking about this. It must have been a shout out. And Mr. Tom 24345 said, "Are we being rickrolled or something? I've only been watching the show since late last season, but it seems Kyle Busch coming on the end of episode is the end of the episode joke. Love the show, guys.
I've got great news for you, Mr. Tom, because today is your lucky day.
Finally,
Parker, introduce him.
I know he is a 2-time Cup Series champion. We mentioned him being in the green room, and he is No, wait, they mentioned No, he's on Denny's show today. Oh my God, we messed that up. Jeez, I'm so sorry. All right, so we're gonna have to. Damn it, Josh! How did we do that?
Well, so to be honest with you, I feel like he double booked himself here, and
It's not our fault.
it's not our fault. We had time. We look at the time. We're only an hour into the show.
We had the time, and he went to the wrong show. Denny, we know you're listening as our only listener. Why did you steal our guest? Nonetheless, we'll try for next week. Thanks all for listening. Bye. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Money Lap. If you like this show, Please like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Share it with friends. We want to spread the word of great motorsports shows, of which we're somewhere up and around there. I'm not exactly sure where, but nonetheless, you can also reach out to us anytime on across social media or at our website, themoneylap.com, or at our email, friends@themoneylap.com. And of course, you can always leave us a review. 5 stars gets you on this very show. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Goodbye.